Good day, friends. I hope you're doing really well. This is Tracy Brown, your somatic nutrition therapist and intuitive eating expert. And we're still on in the book. Those of you who don't know, I'm doing the fallacy detective because I've had such a good time discussing this stuff with my daughter that I thought it would be fun to help us remember how to think through the situations that we are faced when it comes to breaking up with diet culture. And so in this lesson talks about red herring fallacy. And it's one of my favorite, honestly, we interweave so much this in the work that we do in our peaceful eating community and our individual sessions. We're constantly working with people on looking at the fallacies in either how people try to supposedly support each other with like food or weight or health concerns, or throwing in irrelevant things or unproved things, just things that people say based on opinion and maybe their own feelings, but not on any kind of data or facts, right? So I'm just going to read you a couple little bolded things from this book, and then we're going to talk about how you've experienced that maybe yourself in regards, again, to food and weight and all that. So whenever we introduce something irrelevant into an argument, or let's say a conversation, doesn't have to be an argument, of course, but just two or more people being together over a topic, we are avoiding the question. So I'll read that again. When we introduce something that's irrelevant, it's avoiding the question. Doesn't that happen a lot? When somebody asks you how you're feeling, you might say, "Oh, like how are you doing today? What was that like for you to when your mom said XYZ about your food, what was that like for you?" And a red herring would be, I went and took out my garbage a few minutes ago, and that was really, and I'm like, okay, wait, when we have some internal discomfort about being vulnerable, or not that you're getting caught, there's a level of like a part of our brain wants to like interject something else because what we're talking about, maybe we don't know, or literally we don't know, or sometimes we don't know how to articulate with words how we think or how we feel or whatever's happening. That's one way a red herring comes up. Another would be a red herring introduces an irrelevant point into an argument. Someone may think or may want us to think it proves his side, but it really doesn't. All right. So for example, let's say you go to the doctor and you go for something else like an ankle injury, and what gets interjected in there is some kind of weight loss advice. Very irrelevant to your concerns about how you can get some healing for your ankle, but that gets inserted in, kind of making the assumption that the ankle injury is because of the weight. And, that would be some assumption we might make on that part, right? And there's no evidence base, let's say, for that, given your specific situation, because no discussion has been had, and there is no like bigger picture relevancy for your ankle injury based on your food or your weight, but it gets inserted because maybe the doctor doesn't know how, to help you, or maybe it's just such their agenda that anytime they are with somebody who's in a larger body, they just it just blurts out because that's their programming, and so obviously it's totally irrelevant if you come in here because you tripped on a dog toy, that was caused by your weight. But if somebody makes you feel that way, you're getting red herringed, basically. It's like, no, I actually need you to like talk about what are some situations. No, I didn't, my ankle just didn't magically one day collapse on me because of my size. I tripped on the dog toy, so I need you to hear that. It takes a lot of practice and advocacy to do those kind of things. But anyway, that's kind of what red herrings look like. So what I think about really specifically is so many times, our programming in this culture has been for, 100 years now, give or take, probably more, is that if you are in a bigger body, all these other negative things, we're going to talk more about this in the next chapter, which is a continuation of the red herring, but just a little teaser for you here, is that when you hear enough associations and you hear it repeated so many times, and especially if it's said by people who put themselves in kind of, either they're actually our authority, like your parents, over you when you're younger, or put themselves into some kind of authority, like a influencer of some kind, or whatever. If they say the same thing long enough, you start to think that it's true, because maybe not a lot of voices are dissenting against it, or are asking for evidence, or maybe that whole, like, there's just no addressing of it for whatever reason from a power differential. And you start to not trust your own lived experience. Instead, you trust the repetitive programming, of the culture, or whatever it is you're in, right? So it's like, if fat equals sad or unhealthy or whatever the things, and thin equals successful and lovable and all that, and you hear that a million times over the course of, let's say, 20 years, that will get in your brain and create a neural pathway if you don't disrupt that. And of course, that's a red herring. Like, people of all shapes and sizes, you have to talk to each person individually about all the factors in their life to make any kind of, if there's any kind of connection ever to be found. And and I do this work all day long, so it's like I rarely ever find that, like, losing weight ever magically makes everybody's problems go away, and gaining weight causes all these problems. It's just never the case. Everybody's a multifaceted person with a whole lot of experiences. Sometimes we just have a lot of associations we've made, and then they get reinforced by other people's, like, so if you say you have a cold, like, well, if you ate more vegetables and you wouldn't get colds, red herring. What that means is, like, oh, you're getting a lot, instead of, oh, you're getting a lot of colds. I mean, it is, it's, that must be hard, or wonder what you think is happening with that. That's appropriate. A red herring would be, oh, I'm getting a lot of colds. Well, it's because you don't eat enough broccoli. That doesn't fly. That's either the person doesn't know how to argue their point that more fruit and vegetables would improve your immune system, which I'm not saying that that's true. It doesn't hurt, but it's no guarantee, right? And they don't know anything about your situation and what's going on with your immune system to actually make that. It's not even a recommendation. It's a assertion. Maybe because they don't know how to ask different kinds of questions, or more, there's no compassionate witnessing, right? So there it is. And you're working, then you're in the presence of somebody who doesn't know, whatever you said clearly triggered them to do that kind of response. So anyway, I hope this helps a little bit. I really want people to be able to recognize, like, and when it comes to red herrings, I know it's a logic thing, but I also know it's a gut thing. Sometimes when it's like, something doesn't seem right about that, or I'm not sure about that, or is that really true? But I know everybody says it, but something, it's not sitting right with me. And if you can go with that gut and actually explore how you actually think or feel about a thing, you might find that, like, oh, I can use my logic to follow maybe this gut of, like, that, the way that feels inside, so the somatic, the way that seems like, or I'm sensing that inside, that's not congruent, it's not clicking. And then you go use your brain to, like, I wonder how come they're saying that, or where'd they get that from, or who told them that? So you don't instantly internalize any kind of negative food or weight-related messages. And you protect yourself, right? So thank you all so much for watching. I look forward to getting back into the next part of the red herrings. And then also next week, remember, for us people in the United States, that it's our Thanksgiving. So I'll be doing a little bit of, like, just kind of heart check with you all, how you're doing, where you're going to be, what's important to you, how you want this day to go if you're celebrating. And you can ask your questions about how to navigate that day if you need help. If not, please enjoy it. But yeah, we'll do a little red herring, and we'll do a little bit of just kind of setting yourself up to have as little worry or fear as possible, for next week. So in other countries, this might apply for your next holiday situation as well. So take that in as well. Thank you so much, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye for now.